Page 62, Coffee House Boogie. At the top of the page, they're introducing a new symbol. It's called an eighth rest. I think I've said it a few times, can't remember. For every note, there's a rest, corresponding rest. Quarter note, quarter rest, whole rest, blah, blah, blah. Well, eighth note gets an eighth rest. It's that weird looking thing there with it's got a line, it's got that little flag thing on it. The problem is, it can get confusing. You see, if you happen to hand draw an eighth rest, make sure the flag goes off to the left. Don't make it go off to the right, that's incorrect. It must go off to the left. See, music notation has evolved. And 100 years ago, if you happen to look at music that was printed 100 years ago or before, you'll run across it. There used to be a symbol that looks like an eighth rest, but the flag goes off to the right. That's actually a symbol for a quarter rest. And that's why you have to be careful if you draw one, make sure the flag goes to the left. Otherwise, it's a quarter rest. We don't use that old symbol for quarter rest anymore. Now we use the squiggly diving bird thing, whatever it is, for a quarter rest. So we don't have that problem. But you would see it in old music if you happen to look at something that was printed a long time ago. The eighth rest works just like an eighth note, except you're quiet. That's it. I don't have any more. It's not complicated. It's just like an eighth note. As far as how many beats it gets, that's based on the time signature. So whatever an eighth note gets, well, that's an eighth rest gets the same. We have them throughout this piece, and we'll cover them at the time. We have them throughout this piece, and I'll talk about it a little more in the piece. So let's look this boogie over. 4/4 time. No sharps or flats in the key signature. Looks like we're more or less in C major. More or less. There's a lot of accidentals around. Good luck with those. I'll take it one hand at a time. Let's get the fingering, the notes, and the rhythms. At the beginning, you have the C minor chord, a G, a C, and an E flat. See, it's actually a C minor. There's the C major, C minor, and we put the G on the bottom. That's all it is. So it'd be second inversion C minor. Okay. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, they're all E flats. One, because the flat applies for the rest of the measure, right? Go down to measure 5 after see this up to the double bars. That's all introduction. Now the song actually starts, and you have 2 beats rest to move your hand down here. That's 1, and that is a D and an E flat. You have to look real careful because that flat sign, is it on the line or is it below the line? And that tells you which note it goes to. It can get really tricky when the printing is small. So it's 1, 2. I connect everything right now. I'm not worried about slurry or nothing. And measure 6, it's 1 and 2. And see, on beat 2, you're resting because it's an eighth rest. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay. Go up to measure 10, top of page 63. 1 and. You're coming in on the and of 1. 1 and 2 and. We're playing on the ands. You just gotta love it. It's gonna be fun. 1 and 2 and crossover. I mean, you could easily just play with 2 and 1, but we need the practice of crossing over, so that's fine. But if you'd rather play it with second finger, it's up to you and your teacher. But I'm going to go ahead and do the fingering in the book. Again, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Then measure 13, whole note, C and an E flat. Next measure, 1 and 2 and then the C minor chord. It's like we had at the beginning, C minor chord, except this is root position. Then go down to measure 18. You're here, 1 and 2 and then measure 19, you got to be up here. You're just an octave. Oh, just lift up and move. So you, again, measure 18, 1 and 2, and lift up. And you're playing it up here. And then measure 21, it's an 8 VA. So you just lift up and go up again. If you have a short keyboard and you don't have the notes, don't worry about it. Just stay where you're at. But if you got them, you go up. And then at the end, the last measure, there's no 8VA there. You come down and there it's an E flat and a C. Here. If you have really big fat fingers and hands, you can do a 2-5. Otherwise, the 1-5 is fine. Left hand. At the beginning, half notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. So, A natural and a B natural. They don't need the natural sign on the B because it's a natural anyway, because the B flat in the previous measure is only good for that measure. But they do need the natural sign in front of the A. But it doesn't hurt having the natural sign there. It helps to make it clear that it's definitely a natural. It's not a mistake or nothing, it's a natural. You do that again. This is the introduction. Isn't this fun? Oh boy, not too hard. Well, it's kind of nice because we got a lot to think about in the right hand, so that's okay. Then at the last measure of the line, you're crossing over here, here. Now if you can do the C major scale 2 octaves, you got to do this anyway. Just relax the thumb and come over. You can turn a little bit if you have to, but don't turn a lot. Don't go, well, I gotta get it. Just relax the thumb and come over. I will mention that some teachers don't teach crossing over the thumb. You move really quick. I don't teach that method, so I teach crossing over the thumb. And measure 10, that is an 8th note, so it's 1 and. You come up on the and of 1. The right hand gets a note there, so just make sure you're up when the right hand plays its note. Jump down to measure 13. Up here, you're here. This is chromatic. You know, 1/2 step, and they're using a chromatic fingering. And a chromatic fingering, use 3rd finger on the black keys. And that's why they're doing that. That's fine. And then again, and then they prepare the left hand. Simply means move your left hand down here. Not like you're preparing a meal or nothing. The last measure, that last note, 2 ledger lines below the bass clef. You should know that note. Just memorize it. It is a low, low C. 2 octaves below middle C. So middle C, 1 octave, 2 octaves. It's that note. Which finger you use to play it, don't care. Just use a finger. I typically would use little finger because I just played this C than the measure before, and I just reach down because I can feel this octave. However, it's kind of fun based on the articulation, which I'll talk about in a minute. If you want to use 3rd finger, that's fine. Now put the hands together. What do we got? Now, these are half notes. Hold them down. But not the quarter notes. You lift up. Go down to the last measure on page 62. It's here. Then here. That's what I mean. Get up. That's an 8th note. 1 and 2 and. There. Measure 13 and on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and. You're holding this down until you play the E flat in the right hand. 1 and. Then lift up. Up. Then you back this. So forth. Now we have the articulation. We got slurs and staccatos and accents and things. And if there's nothing marked, go ahead and play them legato. Here at the beginning, these half notes, just go ahead and play them connected. Lift up, so it's a here. That's okay. I normally will connect that when it leads into it, I tend to connect it. So I would slur those 4 notes together. It's not marked that way, but you can do it. It's part of interpreting in the music. So that's how that would go. And then go down to measure 5 where the piece starts. We're here. 2 note slurs in the right hand, down, up, down, up. But I'm connecting the left hand. It's and I'm lifting up here. Lift up before and after the slurs. And I'm connecting this and this. I'm like slurring it all the way to the C in the right hand. Right there, I slur all that together. And I connect these to there. Don't have to, but I did. So forth, and then at the end, last measure, that is a staccato and an accent. Give it a little extra oomph. I don't know that you need an accent when it's forte anyway. Just play it loud and short. And then we can think about the speed. Well, moderately with a swing. All right, that's 2 different things here. Moderately is somewhere in the middle. It's not fast, it's not slow. To you. To me, that's moderately. I'm just kind of going along nicely. It's not real fast. That's fast. It's not slow, it's just kind of a moderate. It's the swing thing we got to add. If you want to give it a swing feel, blues, swing, and jazz, those types of music, we swing it, then we swing the 8th notes. We swing the counting. That means you play it long, short, or you count it long, short. There's no notation for it, you just do it. And it's only the 8th notes. So instead of 1 and 2 and, look at the second measure for the 8th notes in the left hand, here. 1, that's 3 and 4, 1. Well, rather than 3 and 4, or 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, we swing it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 3 and 4. And that's with a swing. So here we'd one and 2 and 3 and 4. See right there, I'll measure 6. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3. So the 8th notes are not this first 8th note's a little longer, but the next 8th note after the 8th rest is a short one. 1 and 2 and then like so, and you feel this all the way through. Just swing it. Bottom. It's not a triplet rhythm, and it's not a dotted rhythm. It's just a felt rhythm. You see, if I were going to turn it into a triplet rhythm or a dotted rhythm, then I would keep the counting even. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and I would just make it either triplet or dotted. I'm not doing either of those. I'm swinging the count. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and I'm playing straight 8th notes according to the count. 1 and 2 and 3, and that's what this is. Dynamic wise, well, moderately loud at the beginning. It's more for the left hand on this one. Although you could play the chords a little louder, I guess. And then when the song starts, it's soft. That's whatever you think soft is. That left hand has to be suddenly very soft. You can actually do a decrescendo there on the notes right before it. This measure 4 at the end of the measure, this. You come down very soft, just to prepare for the comma. At the end of the page there, you're going to come up to moderately loud. This is very soft to moderately loud. Soft, go loud, both hands. Come down a little bit to sort of loud. In the right hand, the left hand's soft. Then measure 19, now you come down a little bit to moderately soft. The left hand's still soft. then for measure 21, now you're soft. Left hand's very soft. This is a trick because it's easy to get soft up high. It's hard to get soft down low. You have to exaggerate it almost. And then for the last note, that is loud and short. Don't know why, I guess it's to wake them up. You got to get into it so you can start feeling it, and then you can start interpreting it and make it yours. So. I tend to play the quarter notes a little short, but that's interpretation. There's nothing marked, I can do what I want. I'd like to play this with you very slowly to double check the notes and the rhythms. I'm not going to do the dynamics, but I will swing the 8th note, so I'll give us 4 counts. Let's just try it together slowly, even one hand at a time if you need to. 1, 2, ready, go. Two, 3, 4, 3, 4.